Good morning, Storyside. Hey, do me a favor, just look at your neighbor and say, I'm so glad you get to sit next to me. Go ahead and tell him that. This morning, we also want to welcome those that are joining us online from Michigan, from Mount Vernon, from Oklahoma, everyone that is online. We are so glad that you are joining with us this morning. My name is Pastor Chad, and like my wife and Pastor Kristen talked about, 2 weeks from this moment, we will be in the middle of the very first service at Bucyrus High School. And Mount Vernon, starting in November, God is expanding and doing some great things here at Storyside. Amen? I do want to honor Pastor Micah and Pastor Angel for the opportunity that they've given me to be here. We have some amazing pastors, don't we, Storyside? Thank you. Thank you to everyone, and my wife and my 4 beautiful daughters, which is the backbone of just my life. And so this morning, I just kind of want to start off with a little joke. Just kind of let you know of, there's an old man that was from the country. He took a trip to the big city for the very first time, and he brought his grandson with him. And as he was there, they went to the local mall. He was astonished by all these stores that were around. But what really grabbed his attention was the elevator. Stood outside of the elevator and was just watching as the door would open and close. And he saw this older lady walk by him, go to the elevator, and walk in. A few moments later, the doors opened and a young, attractive woman marched out. Amazed, but realized the possibilities of what this could do. The old man turned to his grandson and said, "Boy, go home and get your mama so I can run her through this thing." So see it. He saw it, he tried it. But this morning I want to talk to you about see it. But just not only see it, I want to talk to you about what stops us from seeing it. This is my nemesis, the bike. This is my best friend. The other day, my daughters, they love to go bike riding. And I love riding bikes. I remember growing up always on my bike, doing crazy stunts, jumping ramps, trying to surf on it, doing everything crazy. And I love riding bikes. You know, it's a great exercise. You get a good, it's just good for your body to be able to ride the bike. And my daughters were like, "Hey, we want to go bike riding." And, after, I was like, I don't know. And so we compromised and we went bike riding. And so we took them on the bike. And so as I was getting ready, my 2 oldest daughters, they can actually ride their own bike on their own. So that's exciting. So as we're getting ready, then my 2 little daughters wanted to go, which means I have to do this. My other nemesis, his second cousin, the bike trailer. And so what I did was I grabbed my 2 little ones and I strapped them in here and we went bike riding. It was a lot of fun. We went around the block a few times, and my daughters love a certain trail that we can take that's outside of our little subdivision. And the trail is a lot of fun. I mean, we started going down this trail and it's winding. We're having a lot of fun. And then we start going down this hill and we're like, yeah, woo! The wind's kind of blowing. The girls are yelling like, this is so much fun, because they don't have to pedal as hard, right? And we're going down this hill and it's amazing. And then it hit me. I got to go back up the hill. Because not only am I doing a bike by myself, with just me alone is hard enough to go on a hill, but adding 2 beautiful angels in here. And I remember as we were going down, because the less that I had to actually pedal, which means I'm going to have to do that 5 times as hard going back up. And I remember getting to the bottom of the hill. We just had a lot of fun. Everybody's, yay, yay. Getting to the bottom going, okay, how am I going to get back up? I'm thinking to myself, should I call my wife to come and pick me up? She didn't answer. And I remember just sitting there like, well, after a while, maybe somebody will think we're missing and they'll come and find us. You know, what am I going to do? Because I remember just thinking, I'm going to have to go up Mount Everest again. So as we have finished, going down the hill, everybody's excited. It was finally time to go back up. And I remember getting on the bike, excited about this, excited about just nothing, but knowing that I have to do it. And we start pedaling. And at first, the mountain, the hill that we're about to go up, is not as steep. But then it starts gradually getting steeper and steeper. About 15 feet into it, one of my daughters started saying, I'm tired, I got to just relax. It was actually me, but I was telling my daughters, hey, you need to relax, right? Hey, you guys just need to stop here for a moment and relax. Don't get too exhausted. Another 15 feet, I had to get them both to do that. Halfway up, we're all worn out at this time, and I mean all of us, except these guys. They're yelling, faster, faster, faster. And I'm like, be quiet. But we finally just, about halfway out, we stopped. There's some park benches, and we relax a little bit for about 30 minutes, and we get back on, and we push it out. I remember just going, okay, I gotta go. Because then I start pushing out a little bit farther. I started realizing something. I'm carrying more weight up, because not only am I on the bike carrying them, but I finally decided to be smart, and I got off the bike, and now I'm walking it up, carrying 2 other bikes, and pushing my daughters. Come on, we will make it. Like, just tell your mom I love her. Just keep going. Leave me. Thinking that was it. Finally get up to the top of the hill, and we go back home, and my wife's like, did you have fun? Yeah, I had fun. It was a blast. Get back home, and I decide to go to my favorite spot. After a long day, of bike riding, I like to relax, especially after the Tour de France that we just finished. And I remember just sitting here like, because my legs, they feel like gummy worms, right? My thighs are burning, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, I'm so glad. I'm sweating in places I didn't know I could sweat, and I'm wondering, like, is this pain ever going to stop? So I had a great night's sleep that night, of course, after what I did. Wake up the next morning, we're doing stuff, and I'm still sore. I'm actually probably still sweating. And the girls asked the question, Dad, can we go on a bike ride? And I started thinking, like, what are they thinking? Are they crazy? Because in my mind, I'm starting to think, do they not remember yesterday? Right? Do they not remember it? They not remember the hot weather? They not remember the sweat, the pain? Do they not remember Mount Everest that we went up? Do they not remember what I went through carrying their stuff? Do they not remember me having to help even push them and pick them up a little bit and carry them and everyone else up there? Do they not remember this? How could they keep asking me, let's go again? Because in my mind, I already know what the results are going to be. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to relax, try to, and they're going to get carried some of it. So as this event was happening with me and the bike and sitting on the couch, and after they asked that question and I just walked away, I remember just sitting there going, wow, how many times in our life do we tell God the same thing? God, you're asking me to do what? Like, do you not remember the pain I went through? God, do you not remember the sweat? God, what are you trying? You ask me to see it, but it's hard because I see it a little bit. It's a little bit blurry. But I'm starting to remember what used to be. And God, right now, I'm okay because I'm nice and I'm comfortable. My legs feel okay. I can feel them, right? But you're asking me to do it again? See, my girls at the time, they didn't remember. They couldn't see. They couldn't remember what has happened. Today in Joshua chapter 6, verse 1 through 2, it says this. Now the gates of Jericho were securely barred because of the Israelites. No one went out and no one came in. Then the Lord said to Joshua, see, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its king and its fighting men. We've been talking about the last few weeks of seeing it. Do you see what God is doing? Do you see it? Do you see it? And I can honestly say that I have seen it, but there have been times in my life where it's been very hard to see it. And this morning, I want to help us through this process if we're struggling to see it. Because the first thing that is always hard to see it, and the reason why is because we are unfocused. We are unfocused. We can't see it. We can't see what's ahead of us. It's hard to see the bike. It's hard to see this, the trailer, the bike trailer. It's hard to see it when you're sitting on the couch in your house because the only thing you see is the scars, is the bruise, is the pain that you went through. And so it's hard for us to see it because we remember everything else that happened when we did it. And we become unfocused. And in Philippians chapter 3, verse 15, it says, so let's keep focused on that goal. Those of us who want something God has for us. If any of you have something else in mind, something less than total commitment, God will clear your blurred vision. You'll see it yet. There's a story of a man getting an eye test. And he's been wearing glasses, and he walks up, he goes to the doctor's appointment and tells the doctor, he's like, listen, man, my eyes have been doing great. I don't think I need these glasses anymore. And the doctor's like, fine, let's do the eye test. Let's see where you are right now. Let's see how it goes. So he takes off his glasses, and the doctor from the other side says, okay, I want you to read this for me. And the guy says, yes, okay, A. First line is A. Okay, second line, T-R-I-L. Okay, third line, okay, that's an M and an N. And he gives all these letters, fourth line, next letters. And he looks at the doctor afterwards. He puts back on his glasses. He's like, hey, how did I do? The doc said, you did great, except they were numbers. See, we think we're doing great. We think we actually see it, but it's so blurry that we can't actually notice it. And the problem of being unfocused is that we see situations like this bike as an obstacle. We see it as something, man, I don't know if I can do this again. I remember sitting on that couch with my daughters saying and remembering, man, that's a lot of weight I got to ride back up the hill. I think of this as an obstacle. I don't know if I can do this again. I don't know if I can. But what happens is the reason we see this as an obstacle is because we have, blurred vision. But what has to happen is we got to get it focused, because we will never see this as an obstacle anymore. We'll see this as an opportunity. See, the difference between an opportunity and an obstacle is based on your perception. How do you see it? Do you see the bike as something that, man, I'm going to be hurting, I'm going to be in pain, I can't do this anymore? Do you see the situation that is in your life, whatever that obstacle is? Do you see it as an obstacle, or do you see this as an opportunity for me to be healthier, an opportunity to have quality time with my daughters, an opportunity just to be with them? How do you see it is based on your perception. Every obstacle can become an opportunity, and every opportunity can become an obstacle. We read about the Israelites. It says that the gates of Jericho were securely barred because of the Israelites. No one went out, no one came in. And I can imagine being one of those Israelites in the line as they're getting ready to walk around Jericho. I can imagine them sitting there. And if it was me, I'd be sitting there going, wow, look at these walls. Some of them 40, 50 feet high. The thickness of the walls were 6 to 7 feet thick. And it was so shut up, so barred in, that no one was leaving and no one was coming in. And so they could have looked at that as an obstacle. They could have saw that and focused in on the wrong thing. But it's amazing what happens as soon as they noticed that no one was going in and noticed no one was going out. God says, I have given Jericho to you. They didn't see the walls anymore. What they saw was God was going to deliver them. Past hurts stop us from doing what God wants us to do. Past hurts, man, I remember the pain, I remember the scars. In Colossians it says, see things from his perspective. But not only is it being unfocused that can stop us from seeing it, but it can also be time. I can't see it because I don't have time to see it. I can't see it because I don't have time. I'm not going to make time to try to see it. When my daughters, when they came up to me the very next day, as I'm sitting there, and they walk up to me saying, Daddy, can we go on a bike ride? I gave every excuse of why I couldn't do it. I don't have time to do that right now. I'm doing this. I don't have time to do this. Okay, I see it. I get it. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. But I don't have time right now. For some people in here, they're like, hey, I don't have time for this because I got so much stuff going on. I got this and this and this and this. And I started thinking, how many times have we told God, I love you, but I don't got time for you right now. I would tell the girls my excuses. I have to work. I got to do this. I need to do this first. It's cold outside, even though it's the middle of July. I would love to, and then I would walk away. Martin Luther King says you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. When there is a hill to climb, don't think about waiting, thinking it's going to get smaller. The Lord said to Joshua, I have delivered Jericho. And I love this statement. He says, I have delivered. He didn't look at Joshua and say, okay, I will. He didn't look at Joshua and say, I'm about to. He didn't look at Joshua and say, if you do this, then I'm going to do this. He looked at Joshua and says, I have delivered. And he's telling you today, he has done it. But you've got to see it. You've got to look at that wall. You've got to look at the bike. You've got to see that as an opportunity and put time into it and saying, God, I know I haven't in the past, but I'm going to put time into this. I'm going to see it because I truly want to be in your presence. I don't have time, God, for you right now. You know, God, where were you when my marriage was falling apart? You didn't have time for me, and you didn't have time for me when the death came upon my family. You didn't have time for me, God, when I was feeling alone. You didn't have time for me through all the pain. So we look at that and we're like, God wasn't there. I'm just here to tell you that's a lie. He's always been there, never forsaken us. But if we don't put time into it, we won't see him there because we're unfocused. In Galatians 6:9, it says, so let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessings if we don't give up. To keep going, to put time into it. You know, procrastination, it's a killer. I remember reading about procrastination memes. It says, I'm taking care of my own procrastination issues. You just wait and see. And the last one says, do you know what happens when you give a procrastinator a good idea? Nothing. Don't procrastinate, because there's no time to lose. Your time could help make a decision that someone follows you to Christ. Your time could save someone. Or your decision not to have it could do something that is total opposite. My senior year in high school, after 4 years of knowing one of my close friends, I never took time to tell her who God was. Never invited her to church, never tried to let her see it. 2 weeks after we graduated, she died. And for me, it was extremely hard because I saw it. I was focused. But I didn't share that with her because I didn't have the time to do it. Not only did I not have the time, and not only do we deal with the unfocused or deal with not having the time, but sometimes the pressure of what others think can adjust our perception. Am I the only one that sees it? Am I the only one who sees what God has for me? And then you try to talk to other people about it. Man, do you see it? Do you see it? And they're like, no, I don't see it. You're kind of crazy. And so what happens is we start changing our perspective to adjust to where everyone else is around us. We start adjusting it because we're the only ones that see it. Like we're focused, we got the time, but then we allow other people to speak into our lives who don't see it, and then it goes from focused to unfocused. Like, hey, I was there. I remember being on the bike. What would happen if I didn't make it back up the hill? If people actually saw my wife coming and picking me up. But what would happen if I wasn't able to do it? Would people make fun of me? Would my daughters look at me any way differently? We allow what other people say and what other people do, that pressure to not see it anymore. We've got to be able to see it. That pressure is there. An example in the Bible of Aaron. Aaron was swayed by the pressure when the people of God commanded him to make them false idols. He gave in to the pressure rather than doing right in God's eyes. No matter if everyone is doing wrong, it does not make it right for us to do it likewise. We should do what pleases God, even if it's not the popular thing to do.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I am so honored to have this opportunity to share God's love and remarkable grace with you. Maybe as you have watched the message today, you have been challenged in your heart and you're really believing there is more. God wants to do something in your life. And I would love for our team to pray with you right now. There's a number on the screen. Please take a moment, call that number. Let us pray with you that God will continue to give you the strength and give you the help as you move forward in your life. If you have prayed the prayer for Jesus to come into your heart to save you, we would love to give you a free book entitled Following Jesus. You can call that same number and we will send that book to you for free. Again, thank you so much for taking time to join us today.
Each week, we receive calls from all over Ohio, places like Columbus, Cleveland, Youngstown, Akron, just to name a few. We hear these amazing stories of people's hope being restored, relationships with Christ being renewed, and people really just overall being refreshed by the message. Today, we're asking you, help Storyside help Ohio. Help us to help someone in your local community. You can do that today through your giving. You can give one of three ways. You can visit our website, StorysideChurch.com. You can download our app for free, or you can text the word GIVE to the number that's right here on your screen. Now, we don't have any way of being able to pay or give our way into heaven, but we can definitely help someone else get there.